and been doing that for, God, well, 6 years now, 5 years now. Maybe it's 6 years in March, long time. Um, Let me kind of give you the agenda for today. So we normally get a bunch of people that have a vague idea of who we are, what we do, because despite our best efforts at explaining who we are and what we do, it's difficult to do on a web page. And so we have like this little sample video put together that does pretty good job, high level, who we are, what we do. Yes, the website. Yes, the printing. Yes, the marketing. Everything in between. And it goes about 20 minutes, and it'll do a really good job of explaining just at a high level who we are, what we do. And then what I usually do after that is, I rant a little bit about this, that, or the other. So maybe do some of that today, maybe not. And then want to get into your questions. Where are you guys in your collective art or photography businesses? Um, I run 3 of these a week, sometimes other members of my team, but usually 3 for me. And so I end up talking between that and like customers, like talk to hundreds of artists and photographers a week. I don't think there's another human being on the planet that talks to more artists and photographers about their marketing and business related issues week in, week out than I do. I've heard it all, I've seen it all. And what's also kind of cool is because we have, I think we're up to like 4,800, 4,900 customers at Art Storefronts now, I get to see all their data. So I know what's working. I know who's actually selling and who's not selling and why. So I say all that to say, despite the overall caliber of my advice, which is likely marginal at best, I do have some really good insights on how art and photography sells where you are. You're just getting started, never sold anything at all, I can help you. Wondering about pricing, wondering about niche selection, wondering about what mediums you need to offer. You're contemplating running live art shows. You are worried about shipping. Don't worry about shipping. The only thing you need to worry about is selling. Shipping is easy, okay? Shipping is easy. Just the selling part is hard. You had a rocking art or photography business pre-pandemic and your offline revenue sources got cannibalized and crushed. You're wondering what the heck to do now. I can help you with that as well. So I will harass you guys to answer questions. Sometimes it's like a flood of questions. Sometimes it's like, you have to like break the well, break the dam, and then they all come in. But contemplate your questions. I want to answer them. I don't care if you ever do business with Art Storefronts. I'm serious. I think I can help you. I got a pretty good read of what's going on sort of in the digital landscape. So on that note, without any further ado, April, will you start the demo video? And then I will see you guys in just a moment. This is the homepage I'm talking about that we just like recently redid, and I think it does a really good job articulating sort of who we are, what we do at a very high level. And if you scroll down the page, there's a bunch of videos of me explaining a whole bunch of things, everything that we do from top to bottom. But our tagline, which states everything that you need to start, run, and grow a successful art business, really does sum up what we do. We get pigeonholed as they're a website company. They're a website company. And yes, we do offer websites, but it is a tiny, tiny portion of what we do. Ultimately, we learned a couple of years ago, the hard way, by the way, if we are going to grow and be successful as a business, Art Storefronts, that is 100% dependent, surprise this one, but on how successful our customers are, on how much art and photography our customers are selling on a yearly basis. And so when you look at that as the problem that we're solving, it becomes so much more than a website, because a website is not enough. But still, we're going to talk about the website. I'm going to get into the other layers as we go down. So it does indeed all start with the website. I will pull one up because it'll make it more interactive. And, you know, anyone that's been attempting to sell art or photography for any period of time, I'll use Bono today, they know one thing conclusively: selling art in an e-commerce capacity digitally online is not like selling other items. It's not like selling swim fins or ladies' handbags or electric scooters or bicycles or anything else, right? Buying art, okay, and buying art online is A, an extremely visual process, and B, an extremely friction filled process. And what do I mean by friction? I mean, friction is all of the various different things, okay, that will prevent a visitor to your website from turning into a buyer, okay? And so, really, everything that we do with our software is attempt to solve for this friction, okay? To solve for the friction, to solve for how important the visual aspects are towards selling art and photography online. And, it's never any one feature. It's all of the features working together. It can be little things like when you select a media type, which is canvas, it changes to a canvas, a gallery wrapped canvas. Most people don't even know what a canvas is. And so we've developed special videos that show the differences, the nuances in the real world, what an actual canvas print looks like, what's going to show up at their house, what are the high points of this one, is canvas different than metal. Oops, I missed a click on that. And so you can see what a metal print looks like and how it's sitting flat, eventually how it's hanging up, all the nuances, the intricacies, because it is such a visual process buying art. We have a feature called the wall preview, which allows you to cycle through various different room types. Again, such a visual process buying art. Not only can you circle through the different room types, and yes, you can add your own room type images in. We use some generic ones by design, and you can size pieces up and down, see what it's going to look like. Do I need a 36 by 49? Is that too big? Do I instead want a 28 by 38? We're making it easier for your potential customer to get to a buying decision. What if they want to, their walls aren't white, right? What if they're this ugly color? Or there's something a little bit darker? Is the piece going to look good with this color, right? Because again, buying art is just such an incredibly visual process. Another feature that everybody likes to talk about that we get a lot of plaudits for is we have this feature.
Artist and
Excuse me, mute that. Called Live Preview with AR. Okay, and what this is this allows somebody to come to your website with their telephone, can be iPhone or Android. You can see the phones here on the right-hand side, and without downloading any apps, they can just use their phone, their camera, and press one button on your website that says Live Preview. And what this is going to do, it's going to take the camera on their phone, okay, which is going to show the real room, the real wall, where the art will potentially go. And then it takes your piece in augmented reality and it projects it onto the wall. And you're able to move it around with your finger. You're able to size it up, size it down, take screenshots. And so is it going to look great in the room? What size do I need to get, right? And so again, this is attempting to solve for the visual friction of, I don't know if it's going to work in my room. I don't know what it's going to look like, right? It's just getting them one step closer to a buying decision, removing the friction from the process. And, I've been doing e-commerce marketing, digital marketing my entire life. Everyone loves to gravitate towards the wall preview or the live preview with AR. But the reality is when you do this for any period of time, it's not about one individual feature. It's about all the features working in conjunction, and you never know which one's going to end up. If we think of a sports analogy like a basketball team, it's how many players you have on the court that can contribute, right, to eventually scoring that basket. And so it's why we do the demo process. We have literally hundreds and hundreds of features, all to remove the friction, all to help you get better at selling art and photography online. And when you request one of these things, our outreach team will reach out, have a conversation with you, and schedule it. It goes like an hour and 10 minutes, and we just go through feature after feature after feature. So it's not about any one of them. It's about all of them working in conjunction. Independent of that, let's keep working down the page. So we also have a ton of back-end software. It turns out running an art photography business, there's a ton of individual little nuance and things that can slow you down, okay? Things like uploading an image and how many images do you have to upload to your webpage for all the various different media sizes and types you have. It's very helpful to be able to just upload one, have all the sizes auto-populate for you, and tell you exactly what you can sell. Things like markups. How do you set markups? Can you do it globally? Can you do it per media type, right? And so no one likes to talk about the back end features, but we have a slew of those as well, all there to make your life easier, to give you time back, okay? Let's talk about our fulfillment. And we love talking about this. This is in our company DNA pretty significantly, but I'll pull up a website. So we're on Bill Stidham's site. Or I should probably start here, actually. So we are integrated. Well, let me start here. You can have it any which way you like. If you're an artist that just does originals and you get orders, obviously you're going to be responsible for fulfilling the originals because you have them. If you're an artist that has a local printer or a photographer that has a local printer, you really like using your printer, you can use your printer. The orders come in, you send the order to your printer. We call that self-fulfillment, no problem. What we recommend our customers do, though, is integrate with one of our print partners, and I'll get into the reasons why. But we've got Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast. We've got Bay Photo on the West Coast. We've got Print Partner for our customers in Canada. And then we just recently integrated with a company called Guten that handles the merchandise. And I'll get into that in a second. How does it work? You sign up. You get your site set up, which usually takes 14 days or less. You click a button. It says, I want to integrate with this print partner. An order comes into the website. The printer gets paid. You get paid. The order gets printed. The order gets boxed. Your logo goes on the side of the box. Boom, it ships to the customer. You touch absolutely nothing. There's nothing you have to touch, nothing you have to do. All happens automatically. And again, it's to give you back that amount of time. And, you know, no one has time in today's day and age to be dealing with the admin, okay? Any time that you spend on the admin, by which I mean sending the order to your local printer, uh, uh, checking on the proof, sending tracking numbers, did it ship, any of that correspondence, all of that, if you're spending your time on that, is time you are not spending on your biggest problem, which is your marketing. So we really believe like streamlining sort of this drop shipping, print on demand, automated fulfillment is a very, very wise decision if you want to create successful artists and photographers. Now, just recently, this was probably what, like a month before Christmas, maybe, we integrated with a company called Guten. And what it allows our customers to do is sell merchandise of a myriad of different kinds, hoodies, iPhone cases, tank tops. They can come in, adjust the image exactly how they want to see it. Maybe they want to tilt it depending on what case it is, and get iPhone cases and a number of different other items. We've got throw pillows and I clicked out of it, and coffee mugs, and we're adding more and more and more and more of these. And on the subject of merch, we realize again, if you go back to our original mission, why we exist, we need to create a set of circumstances, a set of conditions such that the artist, the photographer can make and grow as successful a business as they want. And so some artists look at this merch and they're like, they turn their noses up at it and like, that's not fine art. Why would I ever want to do that? Some are like, I'm all in, I love it. We don't care. Our job is to provide as many different opportunities for artists and photographers to be successful as possible. And we've been totally blown away by how much of this stuff actually, believe it or not, sells. And some of it is higher margin than you would think. Like a throw pillow is $44, and what does a tote bag cost? I think a tote bag costs $38. So sell it or not, you have every opportunity imaginable available to you. If you want to have it all, in kind of like Bill does here on his site, where you have your fine art media types across the top, and then you have the merch all in one product page, great. If you want to have individual items in the store, you want to have your artwork, fine, and then you just want to have a line of phone cases. If you want to have one for a couple of weeks and then turn it off, you can do any and all of that, and it's one click to turn it on at any point in time. It's automated. It's completely automated in terms of fulfillment, and that's not going to change. And we realize again, like, artists and photographers are essentially just creators, right? You're just creators, and you have a talent. You have a talent with a brush, or you have a talent with the lens. You want to monetize that talent, okay? So again, our job is to give you as many different opportunities to be able to monetize that talent as possible. So that's how we go about it. And again, it's a debate about when to use it or when not. But somebody on one of these sessions earlier was like, who's the greatest rock band of all time? I was like, no, who? He's like, the Rolling Stones. He goes, guess what the Rolling Stones have at their concerts? I said, what? A giant booth for merch. He's like, they sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of it a year. If the Stones sell it, I'll sell it. So anyway, I thought that kind of stuck with me. It was fun. So that's our print fulfillment. And I should say too that we're adding calendars, and we're adding puzzles, and we are adding photo books. And to be honest with you, if they come out with a line of hot air balloons, we'll add hot air balloons too, right? Because again, it's creating a set of circumstances such that the artist and photographer can be successful. We don't care where the success comes from. I don't care if Brian gets into business and he's the number one iPhone selling case guy of the entire United States. He's got a successful business, right? So not for us to decide. Support. We believe we have best in class support. If you took a look at our Facebook ads and you scrolled through the 350 of them, you'll see more positive responses for the support than just about anything else. We're very, very good at this. Yes, it's in all the venues you think it is: email, phone, chat support. But in addition to that, kind of what I'm most proud about is we run 6 days a week, including Saturdays, Zoom sessions, just like the one you're on right now, okay? And you can pop into one at any point in time with any support-related issue and get fixed, get unstuck. There's screen shares. They can take over control of your computer and just get you sorted instantaneously. So we're very, very good at it. Not only do we support our application, we ask you guys, we teach you guys marketing all year long, and which I'll get into in a second. What if you're having a problem with Facebook or with Instagram or with MailChimp or with your Facebook ads? We actually support that too. You can pop into a Zoom session and say, hey, Patrick, I'm stuck on my Facebook ads. I'm getting this message. Can you help me? And our team will get you unstuck. That's an amazing thing. There's not many companies that do that. So I'm very, very proud about that. That's in terms of the overall website picture. And we essentially do all of that, okay, to give you your time back such that you can work on the biggest problem that every single solitary person on this Zoom call has, which is their marketing problem. You need to get better at it. And let me tell you, I've got 4,700 customers, and there's only one universal truth about every one of them, right? Every niche imaginable, every subject matter, all over this country and others. Every one of them has a marketing problem. The person that just passed $500,000 a year in sales has a marketing problem. They want to grow that business, they have a marketing problem. The person that just is getting started, sold their first piece, they have a marketing problem, and everybody in between, right? It is the biggest problem. And so, we want to create successful customers. We realize we need to teach artists and photographers how to market. And so how did we solve for that particular problem? We created collectively what might as well be called the Art Business University. That's how we look at it, because I'm not sure there's a better term to explain it. One, we have the best digital education that exists in terms of selling art and photography online, full stop. I'm hang my hat on this. We have detailed documentation that we call playbooks on every marketing facet imaginable. How to run an email campaign, how to run a Black Friday sale, how to go live on Instagram, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time with your laptop on a cell phone. Detailed, step-by-step, audio, video, screenshot documentation. If we're asking you to send emails, we will give you the email copy. You just adjust it to taste for what you're doing. So the playbooks are incredible. They're very robust, and they're very focused on teaching you how to market. We pair that with a 365-day-a-year marketing calendar, okay? It has on it beginner, intermediate, and advanced. You take on what you can take on. You're never not knowing what you need to be doing on a week in, week out basis. You start doing, first, you're overwhelmed. You're like, I've never done this. This is crazy. How am I going to survive? And then you fight through it, and you got through the beginner level. And then you take on the intermediate, and then you take on the advanced. The majority of our customers follow this doggone near verbatim year in, year out, because it works. It's effective. Not only does it tell you what to do, but it solves for one of the other greatest pandemic of our lifetime, the shiny object syndrome, okay? Not only does the calendar tell you what to do, it tells you what not to do, okay? What not to be spending your time on, right? And how do I know this? One, I'm very good at digital marketing. Two, we have 4,700 customers, and I get to see all of their data. I can tell everyone on this call conclusively, out of the 4,700 customers that I have not seen anyone turn a positive ROI at marketing on Pinterest. No one is making any money from marketing on Pinterest. So I'm going to tell you, you don't have to worry about Pinterest. I see you laughing, Mary. I do not want you spending any time on Pinterest, period. Waste of time. So too with SEO, okay? So the calendar is equally powerful on what you need to focus on is what you ignore, okay? Is what you ignore, and that's a big deal. Number 3 of the Art Business University is what we call office hours, okay? We take the entire customer base, we split it into 3. Until you sell $2,000 directly on your website, you're in the traction group. And after you sold $2,000 on your website, you're in the ramping group. After you sold a much higher revenue threshold that we don't publish, you get in the advanced group, which we call growth. We hold week in, week out, every single solitary week. And we took 1 week off for New Year's, but essentially 48, 49 weeks a year. Zoom calls like this. You come on a weekly basis. It's either me or members of my team. We go over the playbooks. We go over the calendars. We talk about wins. Somebody landed an interior decorator and sold $35,000 worth. They're going to come on and tell their story. Not only are they going to come on and tell their story, they're going to say, here's the email that did it. Here's the copy. Here's the Facebook post. And you can go and look at that stuff, right? And you're learning in concert with your peers. Digital online education is not enough, okay? If you look at the stats out there, I don't care who it is, Kajabi or Masterclass or lynda.com, 30% of the people that buy those courses actually finish them. So we can't just have digital education. We have to have in-person teaching sessions, and everyone knows how to Zoom now. It's our new reality. So those sessions, which we started I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of the pandemic, have been the single solitary biggest fundamental change to our business we've ever had. If before the pandemic, I had 100 customers, and I told those 100 customers via email, guys, Black Friday's coming. You got to get going on your sale. Here's the playbook, right? And then I recorded a podcast episode, and I was like, we're going to do this. 35 out of the 100 would take action. After these video sessions where I'm able to go through things, people are able to ask their questions, raise their hands, get unstuck, learn your peers. I have 75 people taking action on that sale, and it's fundamentally changing the business. It is making our customers more successful, more accountable, actually staying focused. Like, look, you guys are all solopreneurs for the most part. I mean, we could pull this entire group, and not a lot of you guys have a big team. You don't have an office behind you where you're yelling at an intern to help you out. You are a solopreneur, okay? Myself, the CEO, we've been entrepreneurs our entire life. I know it's a roller coaster. I know there's highs and the lows. When you're on those lows, you need to kick in the pants, right? You need to be lifted up sometimes. And that's what these Zoom sessions do too, which is incredible. We follow it up with a Facebook group that is highly curated. Okay. There's no trolls. There's no nonsense in there, right? You've seen some of the other groups out there online and how ridiculous it gets in those things. And artists are sharing with other artists. Photographers are sharing with other photographers. The people that are in the landscape niche are talking to others in the landscape niche. Hey guys, what do you think of this new direction? What did you use in terms of pricing? They're publishing their wins. And so sometimes you can't just hear it from us, the official company mouthpiece. And so it's nice to have a whole bunch of people that are doing this same journey at the same time, helping each other out, sharing, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? So that collectively is the Art Business University. And it's like a college. It really is. And the difference is you pay your tuition, you come in, and there's no graduates because the learning never stops, right? And, in addition to that, it never will stop. In today's digital marketing landscape, the goalposts are just constantly moving, right? Like so quickly. You feel like you just learned something and it moves over here. So we keep you up to date with all of that. As a final, about 6 months ago, or maybe 5 months ago now, we started an in-house marketing agency. And it's an in-house marketing agency that only does one thing. It helps artists and photographers sell more art online and off. And we believe already, as of today's date, it's the biggest sole-focused art and photography marketing agency in the world. And that's not hyperbole. I've been asking on these calls, can someone name me an agency that specializes only in helping artists and photographers sell their work? I haven't found one. No one's ever put one in the chat for me, especially not a big one. Why? Because my aforementioned point, selling art and photography is not like selling swim fins or ladies' handbags or scooters. It's hard, right? It's really hard. And we're good at it because we've been working at it for a long time. Also, I get upset, right? Because I look at all of you guys as like, you own a McDonald's, right? And if you owned a McDonald's, you have to know how to do the ordering. You have to know how to clean the floors. You have to know how to open the building. You have to know how to operate the drive-through window. You have to be able to flip burgers and fries and do all of that and do the ordering, right? Like it's your business. You need to understand those things. But at the same time, I'm not naive in the sense that 80% of our customers still have full-time jobs or in some capacity. Maybe they're service-based photographers and they're trying to sell their fine art. So I get it. You need to be able to have the ability. If you don't have the time to do the marketing and you have the resources, you need a la carte things that you can jump off the shelf. Hey guys, I need my Instagram profile tuned up. I need my Facebook page tuned up. I need to help with a sales campaign. You need to be able to do that sometimes. In addition to things like we'll completely build your website for you. You don't want to do that. You hate building websites. Your fears in life in order are death, taxes, and building another website. I get that, right? So you can drop your images in a folder. Tell us to build the site. We'll build the site for you, okay? We'll manage your Facebook ads, okay? We will manage all of your social posting. And again, it goes back to the top premise. Like our job is to create successful customers. And so we looked at it 6 months ago and it's like, we need to have an agency. And then some people are like, well, I want to do it myself. Fantastic. Our job is to have the best DIY product, do it yourself, learn, come on the sessions, and then also have an agency where you can pay. And again, it's a la carte or it's, up to almost full service. And the amazing thing about it is, I've been doing marketing a long time, right? What do all marketers love? A case study. Oh, we love a case study, right? With the sexy data about this huge win, and we publish it on social media and we use it for lead generation. So totally did that all the time. Okay. Guilty, and if you lose, you don't publish it, right? You wait till you hit a winner and do all that. But it used to be, I would go and run a case study with a customer and, I'd have limited bandwidth to do that. And then we would build the playbooks. Well, guess what I have now? I've got agency staff. I've got one guy that all he does all day long is spruce up Instagram pages for artists and photographers. He did 65 of them last week, or probably 65 last month. So imagine the learnings that we're getting. What happens is the learnings are going right back into the playbooks, and then they're coming onto the Zoom sessions and they're teaching, and we've got a little flywheel going on, right? We've got a little artist and photographer education flywheel. So it doesn't matter if you ever order a single solitary service from the agency. And we don't even care if the agency ever makes any money, in all honesty, because all it does is just improves the product, makes more successful customers, and helps us grow. So we really, at the end of the day, are fundamentally a business that can be thought of as a rowboat, right? It takes our oar, your oar, we jump in the boat in the same time. And if we can get that thing rowing in the same direction, the faster we can get that going, the better everybody does. So that's Art Storefronts in a nutshell. That's my presentation. April, we got to figure out a way to make that thing end smoother. I feel like it's it's like herky jerky. But anyway, okay, so that's who we are, what we do at a high level. So happy to answer any questions you have about anything service related, or also love to talk about where you are, what your business is doing. In terms of the questions, so Zoom has a way that you can like digitally raise your hand, not physically raise your hand like that, but digitally. It's in the participants thing on the bottom, and what that does is it'll give you the ability to raise your hand, and then I know you want to ask a question. So we encourage you to do that if you have a question. If your camera's on and you want to be old school and just raise your hand up and just say, hey, call on me, I'll obviously see that. If your camera's on, I won't. If not, if you want to be on video, fine. Love to see you. If not, totally get that. I hate being on video myself, so I understand it. If you have questions in the chat, and I can see the questions are coming in on the chat, I will answer those. And then if you're one of the ones that's watching on the socials, we stream to, what are we streaming to? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter this time around, I think. If you've got questions there, I can certainly answer those questions as well. And we'll get into it. Yeah, I think I'll save my rants for later. We'll just go right into the questions. Okay, Mabel, you're up first. Mabel, you'll need to unmute your microphone. It's in the bottom left-hand corner. It's like a little microphone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
Gotcha.
there it is.
Gotcha. How can I help you?
We can just write on your an email to your website, or how do we go contacting you?
Yes. So what you do is you will fill out the demo request form. April's got it in the chat, or you can go to our website and then you put in some information there, and then our outreach team will call you directly.
Okay. And the next would be pricing.
Yep.
That's also posted someplace.
Well, yes. Well, we don't like post it on our website. We have a whole bunch of reasons for that. But when you fill out the form for a demo, what happens is somebody from our outreach team will call you, and it's like a 10 to 15 minute call, and they'll answer, they'll show you pricing, they'll answer all those questions, go through that whole thing.
That's good.
Okay. Thanks, Mabel. Okay, next up's going to be David, and then it's going to go Ryan, and then it's going to go Janie. Okay, so David, you're up next. Go ahead, David.
Hi, it's actually Angie and David. And I think somebody else asked our question in the chat also, which is one of the things we've struggled with is actually photographing the art, getting good photos. So how do you help us with getting the right resolution, not just for the website photo, but right now we're looking at mostly just David's originals, but if we wanted to get into prints, what do we need to, like, what do we need there?
Yes, love that. So we have a customer that for like 20 years, his job was straight up photographing art for reproduction. That was his job. And so he wrote this like mega nerded out in-depth article about everything from starting with the iPhone and doing it that way all the way to having it professionally scanned versus doing it yourself. That article is going to go in the chat, and then I will also I'll email everybody it later. But what I would say, practically speaking, especially if you have the originals, is everyone, and this is just like the common pitfall everyone falls, everyone stresses about this significantly up front, and they're like, okay, I'm just going to get everything photographed. Once I have everything photographed, I'll be ready to go. And the hours turn into days, turn into weeks, turn into months, and they do not get their work up on a website, and they do not start working on their marketing. And it ends up being like a crippling like fear of sorts. I see it time and time and time again. So what I recommend is if you have the images satisfactory enough to be able to show on your website, don't worry about getting it all photographed. Get it live on the website. Start working on selling. Wait till you get an order. Once you get an order, be like, hey, Patrick, thank you so much for your order. We are actually in the process of getting all of the work rephotographed so that we can deliver a higher quality print. Would you be comfortable waiting for a couple of weeks for us to do that? I'll give you 10% off. And I'll say, yeah, of course I would. And then go out and get it photographed, right? And whether you take that course of action or not, it's just the mental aspect of like, do not let it hang you up. Deciding, getting live and getting working on your marketing, because that's what's going to generate sales. And you can do it over time and continue to photograph the rest of the work. But I definitely also think you should be offering prints, because what do David's pieces start out on an original? Like what's the intro price point?
Oh, golly, I mean, that's the other thing. I think we're pricing him a bit under the market.
Mhm.
So we had a 18 by 24 original acrylic on canvas, 385
Yeah,
in the
that sounds
sort of
low.
like gallery space.
Yeah, that sounds really low for originals. Definitely low for originals. You know, the nice thing is if you have like a strong original business, right, and that's working out well, you know, you price those babies high, and then in order to not alienate, you know, the people that don't have enough money, or you know they want to get started but they're not ready for an original yet, then the prints fulfill all those lower end price points, right? But you know, for $300 on an original, you need to raise those prices up immediately. Immediately.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then in terms of because we're still new to the game,
Mhm.
we don't really have an email list for him. He's
Yep.
starting to build an Instagram following,
Okay.
but like I know that's something we need to look at, but is it's one of those chicken and egg things.
Always,
So what
always,
are your thoughts?
always. Yeah. The majority of the people that come in are in the chicken and egg thing. We have like a bunch of hacky stuff, little marketing initiatives in the beginning to solve for this. But it doesn't matter who you are or what hacky stuff. You know how emails are built? One email at a time, right? But that's what we teach you to do, like literally all year. Um, you know, we do have some extremely effective lead generation sort of campaigns ideas that we do, and especially when you first get started, you know how you announce the website. You end up doing a couple of print giveaways, and that'll give you a shot in the arm, as it were, to get going on the email list. But yeah, there's no shortcut to building it, right? Like I can literally look from artist to artist, to photographer to photographer, and get a pretty scary accurate read based on what they sell, what the prices are, on how big their email list is, right? Like we all need attention. We need attention in today's day and age, and the email list is the only thing that we actually truly own, in contrast to what we rent, which is our Instagram followers, our Facebook followers, or any other social presence that we have. So don't let it discourage you. You just got to get to work on it in earnest.
Okay. Okay. Cool. And if we were interested in the done for you route,
Mm-hmm.
is that something you guys help with in the email list building,
Oh yeah.
or
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So we wouldn't need to have a list before we
No.
went that.
No. 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 You wouldn't.
Okay, cool. All
And
right.
you know,
Those are
and
my questions.
yeah, and the cool thing about the agency is that it's both like managed services at the high end of it, but then it's also a la carte, right? Like, you know, a lot of times you'll be working on your own marketing. You're like, okay, I'm going good, but I'm a little busy, and I just want to get a little shot in the arm. And you can just go get like a one-off service off the shelf, and you know they can help with a sales campaign, or they can help with ads, or they can spruce up your Instagram profile. So it's tremendously helpful to have that in place as well, I'd say.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
and,
Thank you.
and raise those original prices immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's nodding. He's nodding. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah. You know, everyone, like that's like another like, you know, serious fear people have with you know, raising prices. Oh my gosh, how could I do it? I'm terrified. And you always have to ask yourself, in any business, but especially in the art business, is this decision a reversible decision? Meaning, can you reverse it without any problem whatsoever? I mean, you could take all of David's work, starting original at $1,000, run that for 3 months. If everyone's complaining about price, you might have an issue. But guess what? You might not have an issue at all, and it might just sell. So worst case scenario, you can lower it right back. You can raise it up again. Like you have that flexibility to do that at any point in time. Ryan, you're up next. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you. And awesome material, Patrick. I wanted to kind of lead off of it was similar to the last question with running Facebook ads, because I've been trying to get into the Facebook ads for my Facebook marketplace, and I connected it to my Instagram shop. Working with you guys, we get to see the back end of it, because I'm really trying to learn, you know, when to do a conversion campaign and when to do a lead generation campaign. And I've also heard very contradicting viewpoints on both ends, where it's saying, you know, run it to a broad audience. And then I've heard, I think it was even on your podcast, run it to a specific niche audience and work backwards, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to learn that business, and I'd like to see the back end too, if I saw what you guys were doing.
Yeah. I always use this fishing boat analogy because I really like it. And I'll give it to you because it's so important. And I'll say big picture, I do not advocate even that our customers advertise to cold traffic. Traffic can be thought of as cold and warm. It's just like the relationship example, right? Cold has never met Ryan. They don't know who he is. They've never seen his art before. Warm is everything from they've seen your art one time all the way to they know your entire life story, right? They know your grandparents' name and your kid's name and your wife's name and everything, right? So that's warm. They know you. And everybody, is lured to Facebook and Instagram ads. Oh, it's so easy. I can boost a post. I can do this. There's so much material out there. And no one understands that you will never, ever make it with Facebook ads if you, and I say this analogy a couple of times, but I say until you can do 100 push-ups in one sitting. And what are the 100 push-ups? It's the marketing muscles that you need to be able to actually see an ROI from the spend, okay? What is it? What is 100 push-ups? You need to be posting regularly on Facebook and Instagram. And I don't mean just salesy stuff all the time. I mean just stuff to be awesome and to grow followers and interact. You need to be doing that on a regular basis. You need to be growing an email list. You need to be emailing that email list at least once a week, sometimes more per week as you get a little bit better and more sophisticated. You need to be having sales at all the right times of the year and when it's right? And especially Q4, but Valentine's Day was a good one. Depending on what your niche is, there's a whole bunch of other ones. You need to understand all the mechanics of the sale. Once you have that in place and you're doing that consistently, then you're ready for warm ads. And I know because it's a chicken and egg thing early on. You're like, I don't have any traffic. I just need it. So your mind's in the right place. But the only way that you are going to turn an ROI on ads to warm traffic is once you have that set up and once you have that ready to go. We have a very in-depth and detailed Facebook ads playbook to start with warm. If you can't make warm ads pay, you will never make cold ads pay. So it always starts with warm, right? It has to start with warm. Once you have that going and you have that humming, then you can move to cold. But, my primary thesis on Facebook and Instagram ads that is really important and no one understands is that Facebook and Instagram has a free service and it has a paid service. There's two plans. Now, the plans aren't published. There's no pricing table. You can't go to facebook.com and look at the paid plan or instagram.com and go look at the paid plan. But what warm ads, so ads to people that have interacted with Ryan's brand, and let me just define it. People that have engaged with his Instagram post go into a warm audience. People that have engaged with his Facebook post go into a warm audience. His entire email list goes into a warm audience. Any email database that he might have, a database period, even if it doesn't have emails, goes in and is an audience. The Facebook Pixel, which is a line of tracking code that sits on his website, registers all of the people that visit his website. That goes into a warm audience. Collectively, I call that the kitchen sink. That's your kitchen sink audience, okay? Showing ads to that warm audience on Facebook and Instagram is just the paid plan. It's the paid plan. And anyone that can do the 100 push-ups, anyone that is posting regularly, gathering emails, having a sale when the time is right, all need to be on the paid plan. Because all it does is it takes us back to the good old days when 100% of our followers would see all of our posts, right? The early days on Instagram, the early days on Facebook, if you followed somebody, you saw 100% of their posts. Now it's less than 1%, depending on what it is. And so warm ads done correctly, and let me tell you, Facebook is laden with idiot taxes all over the place. I have paid all of them. I can save you from paying them. Zuckerberg has enough money. He does not need any more. I shouldn't say that, we're streaming on Facebook. But it's just the paid plan to Facebook and Instagram. And they have all the attention. We have to pay for it. And you'll go from 1% seeing your organic post and yes, your sales post to 60, 70, 80, 90, sometimes, close to 100%. So that's the ball game. That's where to start. That's how you get the ROI. I love that your mind's in it already, but I'm worried if you're not doing that and you're not starting with warm, it's like trying to ride the bike without the training wheels. You got to do the training wheels first, master that, then take them off.
That's a lot of good information. Thank you. And then real quick, just following up on this, I saw this on the demo with the Bono painting. My question also is intellectual property.
Yeah.
How, what about going about intellectual property? Is there with you guys, are you able to sell things that are like celebrities or
no, it's a total charcoal gray area, and we leave it up to the artist or the photographer. What normally happens, well, it's different in every niche, right? And I get this question all the time. We have a guy that literally goes into theme parks that will remain nameless. I'm not going to use the name, but contemplate mouse ears and you can figure out which one it is. And he photographs the inside of the theme parks, and then he sells the prints of this, and they are doing incredibly well. Now that is a massively charcoal gray area. Like you can't be selling that stuff, right? But it's not our business, it's his. If we get a cease and desist letter, we'll pull it down. But he's actually in a group with employees from said mouse ear company that say in the group, technically we could come after you for this, but we know all you're doing is just driving people into our parks even further, right? It's like a form of marketing. So as long as you're not selling millions of dollars a year, we probably won't come after you. So there's a whole lot of niches that are like that, until you end up making a ton of noise, you probably won't get, called out. But what will happen is that you'll eventually get a cease and desist letter and they'll tell you to take it down. And, sometimes it could be a shakedown. It's up to the individual artist or photographer to navigate. And there's no one catch-all answer that does it conclusively. That's sort of how it's laid out. But yeah, we leave it up to you guys to say like, hey, we're all adults here. As long as everyone's playing by the rules and we're not getting takedown notices, it's up to you. So that's how we do it. Thanks, Rand. And do not just run ads for your sales. You have to run ads sometimes for posts that have no links even to your website, just to show you're awesome and grow your following. Okay, Janie, you're up. You'll need to unmute, Janie. It's bottom left-hand corner. I'll let you know when you get it.
I think I got it.
Yep, we got you. Gotcha.
Okay. How about greeting cards that are self-printed, packaged, and mailed from my home?
Love them. We love them. You don't even need to self-print or package them. We do them ourselves too. Let me grab one. Hold on. Talk about it. You of course could do them yourself, from your home, but we do them too. This one doesn't have anything in it, but yeah.
Here are some of mine.
Oh, those are wonderful. Yeah, I love them. I love them like 100 different ways to Sunday. And reason being, after you've been marketing for years and years and years, you realize things. Namely, the easiest customer to get is the one that you already have, right? Even if they only spent 10 or 15 or 20 or $30. That's how it starts. That's number one. Number two, they're just great for marketing, period, right? Like, send it for an awesome Instagram comment or send one, with every order and send a thank you or a Christmas card or whatever. I love them. So I'm a huge fan.
How do I go from Facebook followers to the email list? I've been marketing through galleries, local cafes, and lots of friends who like my art. And I've been shipping stuff and doing local shows and front yard shows. I'm sort of a seasonal artist. I have a big organic garden that draws a lot of people. So I usually combine art with the garden. But I've never marketed by email. I've always used Facebook, and I have used all the free classified ads in Spokane, Washington, and various groups and get some traffic that way. Do you have thoughts about going from Facebook to email? How do you get those?
So pretty much every established e-commerce merchant in the world has a pop-up on their site, right? You need to have a pop-up that's gathering emails. That's a very effective way to do it, and it works. We are all equally annoyed by them, and yet they are effective and they're not going anywhere. So that's just the long and the short on those. But you constantly want to be driving the traffic from Facebook back to your website when it's appropriate. And
that's what I don't have. I don't have a website, and I've listened to all your videos, and I'm convinced I need the technical support and your expertise, and I'd like to do a one-on-one.
And you've heard me rant about the website, why you need one, right? I mean, it's
and why it's not enough just to have a website, because I've tried setting them up. I've tried eBay and Pinterest and Etsy, and even setting up a website is beyond my technical skills. Really.
Yeah, we have the whole site set up thing. So
and then I do a lot of. I have a good Samsung S20 phone that takes great pictures. Like this is right off of my phone.
Yeah, love it. They're amazing. Cell phone cameras are amazing these days.
But when I have them printed down at the art store, they scan things. So if you go with your Bay, what was it called?
Bay Photo.
Yeah. Do you have to send your original to have it scanned, or do you have it scanned somewhere and just send?
Yeah, you could do it locally. if there's someone local for you, then you can do it that way, right? Or, you know, you can hire somebody to come to your house and shoot them all. There's literally a whole bunch of different ways you can do it.
But when you do the one directly from the printer,
Mhm.
from the Bay Group,
Mhm.
and have them ship, how do they get your image?
You upload it onto your website, and then they get it automatically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think scanning is
Yeah.
preferable to
Yeah.
a good screenshot?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
and it gives you, you know, it gives you the ability to offer larger sizes too, which is important.
And what about splitting your profits with a nonprofit? Have you ever had people who say 50% of my profits go to this group?
We do. We have a lot of people do it. I mean, I think if that's you and that's your mantra and you love it and you want to do that, then do it because you love it. You want to support that organization and anything good that comes after the fact. But I think if you contemplate it as a business technique and making people more likely to sell, I think it becomes less than genuine and
No,
doesn't
I
even.
don't, I
Yeah.
don't do it for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I think
That's good. I like your background too. It's very eclectic, art everywhere with that cool window. So
oh, thanks.
yeah.
That's my studio.
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks
I
cool.
started painting just about 8 years ago, so I've been just ramped and produced a lot of art.
Got it. Got it. Very cool. Well, I think we could help you, so definitely request a demo. We'll get you sorted on the website. Thanks,
Yeah,
Jenny.
I did.
Okay, John, you're up next. I'm gonna unmute you now. Mic icon lower left, John. I'll tell you when you get it. Got it.
All right. How y'all doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good, good. Yeah, so I asked in the chat if you have any sculptors. You
Yes.
saw a link for one glass artist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so as far as setting up a website and photography would be an issue for me. I'm not very accomplished as a photographer. So for a website, would you recommend a higher quality photos?
I mean, literally, because the size and are all your pieces sculptures essentially?
No, I do painting as well.
You do painting as well, yeah. To get started, like, you know, especially with some of the newer phones, you could totally pull it off with a phone, but you could also hire a kid off Craigslist that has a good, you know, SLR, really nice lens for a couple $100 and have them come shoot all of them in a day too, right?
Right.
So you have options there, and you know, when you're contemplating the reproduction, that's one side of it. When you're contemplating just getting it on the website, that's another, right? Like you can get it up on the website for extremely frugally, even just using your cell phone. Start working in on the marketing, and then worry about getting professional scans when you start getting orders. So you have that ability too.
Right.
And the sculpture at the end of the day, you know, there's no website that we're aware of or website company that caters specifically to sculptors, right? That's number one. Number two, you know, you would need to find just an e-commerce website company, right? Our software, despite the fact it's completely tailored to wall art, is just an e-commerce shopping cart at the end of the day too. So you can sell anything, right? Like the merch and everything else. But also what's interesting with sculpture, and I say this all the time to sculptors, is, you know, my guess is that your price points are multiple thousands of dollars, or at least start at $1,000 and up, right?
Well, I really haven't tried selling my stuff.
You haven't tried selling. Okay. Okay. So yeah, you're
I mean, I've sold a few pieces in the past to friends and all, but you know, no, I haven't pushed selling the stuff. So
yeah. Step number one is you gotta sell some of that work to people not named mom, dad, friends, family, right? Who buy anything from you and lay down in traffic. You know, in that used to be significantly easier in a pre-pandemic world when you could actually get a booth somewhere with some decent foot traffic, right? Because you put all your pieces in the booth, you sit there with no assumptions whatsoever, you start having some conversations, and you see how you sell. If you sell well, then that's the market telling you it's time to get going on this business, right? If it's crickets and you can't give the art away, then you've got another problem, right? But that's a primary problem you need to solve. And like I said, in a pre-pandemic world, I would have told you to get that local booth. That's proving to be a little difficult in today's day and age. So, which is not to say you can't pull it off some places, but you know, if you have any sort of following on Facebook or Instagram at all, do you? By the way,
no.
Yeah, Yeah. So
Again, I haven't been, so I'd be starting out. When you talk about warm marketing leads, I'm cold across the board.
yeah,
Again, I
you're
haven't been trying to
consistently
sell my
cold.
stuff for
Yeah.
years, so.
Yeah, you're consistently cold. Yeah. I gotcha. But that's how it starts.
And
That's
as
how it
far as the
starts.
website goes, I did website design years ago,
Mhm.
before the first generation, before when the .com crash hit, I got out.
Yeah.
So I'm still fairly tech savvy, but I haven't built a website in 20 years, and I have really no desire to.
Mhm.
So when you talk about the packages you offer, so I'd be, I'd want to look at the pricing,
Yes.
and do I need to, fiddle with it myself, or
No. No, you do not need to fiddle with it yourself in the slightest. It's kind of one of the nice things that we do. We've made a website that, our templated themes they just work right out of the box. You don't need to touch them. You don't need to customize them. You don't need to do a bunch of stuff. You need your artwork up. You need an about me section. You need an FAQ, which we automatically populate. And then you need to start on your marketing, right? That's it. That's it, full stop. You don't need to be monkeying around with the website, by which I mean not even spending a minute. Like, get the basic stuff up. Our sites are extremely minimalist by design because they're meant to mimic the buying experience when you walk into a gallery. White walls, simple art front and center. So you don't have to do like any customization whatsoever.
So as far as the marketing and all, it's every man for themselves, so to speak. I think of, art galleries or something, they have a collection of artists, and, clients will go to that gallery site. So that it's a magnet, and then you can, take benefit from their draw power.
Yes.
Whereas it seems with you, I'd be setting up my own website, and I'd be responsible for drawing all my traffic.
Correct. We teach you how to do it, day in, day out, all year long, never stops, right? Like that's our whole secret sauce, because, everyone has a marketing problem. The galleries are nice in the sense that you don't have to do anything, but they're also, exploitative in the sense that A, there's a revenue split, and then B, you don't have any information on your collectors. You're never able to market to your collectors ever again. You'll never know who they are, right? And so that's a really disadvantage to have an artist at. And I think, over the course of the last almost year now, I've seen so many folks that were, well into their careers, should have been their best years selling. Their offline revenue sources were rocking, and then all of a sudden, because that pandemic hit, and without warning, the rug was just completely ripped out from underneath them, right? Like really, really strong businesses that all of a sudden are not producing anything, because you don't control anything in that capacity. So, we are very pro revenue any which way you can get it, full stop. You have galleries working, fantastic. You have one of the online galleries working, your Redbubble or Saatchi Art or Etsy or eBay or any of them, fantastic. Keep those going, by all means, but not at the expense of building something that you own and where you control everything, right? Where you have a website, you own the traffic, you own the email addresses, and no one's saying that you have to build that up into a huge thing in 1 month or 6 months or 3 years. Like, you guys are sort of unique artists and photographers in the sense that there's not really a whole lot of midlife crises that happen and you decide to career change, right? You're creatives. You're going to be doing this. It speaks to you. You have to do this. And so when you zoom out and you get the perspective, 10 years from now, you're going to be an artist still wanting to sell your work. 20 years from now, you're going to be an artist still trying to sell your work. So, okay. All right. If the right business model then is selling direct, where you own your own attention and you're able to market to your collectors year in, year out, your prices go up year over year, the collectors go with you, for the ride, then you have the perspective of, okay, I've got a couple of years I can invest in growing this thing. I'm not going to have it done overnight. It's going to take me some time, but I'm going to be able to maintain all of my own data and my own email list such that I'm building an asset where I'm in control rather than left to the whim of what might happen in the market, right? So that's sort of our large picture. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say, you're going to come aboard and it's going to be like a light switch you throw on and fish start jumping in the boat and it's raining sales, right? Like, nothing good comes easy. You have to do the marketing work. But if you actually want a business that can actually produce more income year over year and give you the freedom that even if pandemic number 2 comes along, you're going to be fine because you have a list, you have attention that you're capable of marketing to. And it's so important, right? Like, I believe that the art industry is seeing right now, it was trending this way for a while. The pandemic just poured gasoline all over the fire that was the trend. But it's having its MP3 record industry moment. It's having its Netflix blockbuster moment. It's having its Uber taxi cab moment, right? Like, it used to be that you needed these third parties to sell your work, get attention, provide income for your business, and now you don't. And that's a phenomenal situation to be in. You can get online, start selling, start working on your marketing, sell internationally, keep all of the money, keep all of the data, but it takes work. It takes work. That's it, right? So there's no shortcut to that, and that's what everyone's biggest issue is, and they just want to grow the size of their pie, and we teach that all year long.
So, if I could interject, as far as your marketing, would that include, and I know a guy who owns a local gallery, and I talked to him. Would you be able to counsel me if this would be a good move for me?
Oh yeah,
or
100%.
should I
100%.
do my own stuff?
100%. Week in, week out, we have Zoom sessions like this based on where you are on revenue with all of our customers, and they'll never stop. 52 weeks a year, 50 weeks a year, we have them, and you come in and you ask all these sites of questions. And what's been awesome about it is, no one person can know every single solitary aspect of this business from top to bottom. It's too big. There's too much nuance. There's too much intricacy to it. So not only do myself and my marketing team teach sessions about all the various different things, but we have a ton of our customers that are teaching stuff now. We have experts in licensing. We have experts in limited editions. We have experts in niche selection, and they're coming on and they're teaching too. So I say that to say, yes, of course you'll get our advice on what to do and how to manage the gallery. And obviously this is a common scenario. So we have a ton of different posts and sort of what we call playbooks on how best to deal with this, how best to navigate it, what to counter with when they say this, that, or the other. But you also get people that are in the exact same boat as you, and they'll be like, John, here's how I played this. Here's how you should play it. My 2 cents, go, right? So yes, there's a tremendous amount of that advice going on.
When you mention emails, I'm just wondering, because that seems like old school to me. My inbox gets flooded with junk mail.
For sure.
I don't even look at my.
All of us.
How is email still an effective means?
Yes, email is still king, and sadly, it's and when I say sadly, because open rates aren't what they were 15 years ago, right? But sadly, it's the only thing that we still own. You own the website, and you own your email list. No one can take that away from you, right? Facebook can decide that you did something that they don't like and kill your page tomorrow, and there's not a thing you could do about it. Zero, zip, nada. Same with Instagram. Same with any of the rest of them. So we place a tremendous amount of focus on the things that you do own. Email is the most effective. You could argue you own email, you own the snail mail address if you have that, and you own their phone if you do text marketing. But other than that, everything else is rented. As crazy as that is to say, it's the truth. I mean, we as a business, Art Storefronts, okay, I'll just give you for instance. We had an Instagram account. It had 18,000 or 25,000 followers on it, right? We talk a tremendous amount because of the impact that COVID and the pandemic have had on art marketing, right? We believe that we said something that ran afoul of the PC police because we used the word COVID or pandemic too many times, and they just killed our Instagram account. And not only did they kill our Instagram account, we have a rep that we can call at Facebook, okay, because we spend money on ads, and they can't even get it back. It's gone. Poof, gone, done. Starting over scratch. Our Instagram account now has 500 followers on it, right? So that defines it for me. That was a rental. That was rented space that I had. And you know what? I don't control the rules there. And I'm not emotional about it. I get it. It's just part of the game, right? You're going to take some licks like that, but no one can take your email list away from you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay, I know I've got some in the chat, so I'm gonna go to the top and start answering these. A lot of people asking how to request a demo. I think I went over that. It's pretty easy. What else? Yeah, John asked about sculptors. That one's done. Yeah, photographing one's art. We got that. So is the ongoing drip email marketing supported through your site or service, or do we need an outside service? Yeah, so we recommend that you integrate with an ESP, an email service provider, and the one that we recommend is MailChimp. It has a free plan until you start getting a bunch of emails, and then you graduate to the paid plan. But it's reasonable, it's robust, and it works really, really well. So that's what you need to do in terms of marketing. Our websites are capable of sending a bunch of emails and transactional emails, but you need a proper email provider. That's just how it goes. Okay, Jim was saying too many questions. He emailed me. I'll look and see what that is. Crystal asked about print fulfillment. I think we answered that one. Yeah, I think that is it in terms of questions in the chat. How does the merchant stuff work with? Oh yeah, so we are very much, advocates, Crystal, that the artist owns everything. You own the URL, you own the website, you own the email list, you own the traffic, and that goes for the merchant account as well. So all of our customers integrate. You can do PayPal, but everyone pretty much integrates with a company called Stripe. They're gigantic. And so you have a Stripe account that's tied directly to your bank account. Order comes in. If it's an original, all the money goes to you directly. If it's a print, the money will go to your printer immediately. The money will go to you. The order will get printed and shipped. But we're not involved in that transaction in the slightest. It's all you. So you just set up a Stripe account. I unmuted you too if you have any follow-ups. Nope, good. Shaking her head, covered, done. All right, well, you think of any others, you let me know. Okay, Lisa, you're up. Go ahead, Lisa. So it looks like you unmuted your mic, Lisa, but I'm not seeing any levels on it, which tells me you probably have the wrong mic selected. I can try and navigate. This is like a 50-50 shot, but at the bottom where you unmuted your mic, there's this little up arrow. And what that lets you do is pick which microphone that you're using. And my guess is, Lisa, that you're on the wrong one, or your mic's not working. It's one of the two. But I'll leave you unmuted. And I can circle back, see if you get it. You might need to put your question in the chat if it doesn't work. Amazingly enough, though, Zoom, this new world that we live in where everyone, like, video chatting is just a thing. Like, it's insane how little technical difficulties there are with Zoom, at a large, and how many people get it instantaneously, and how the fact that I've run thousands of these things now and almost never had any technical difficulties is crazy. It's also why leveraging live video, whether one-to-one or one-to-many, is one of the most powerful weapons in an artist toolkit in terms of showing the piece, talking about it, getting people to know, who you are, like develop know, like, and trust, which is like really, really important. Ellie said, did you say Stripe account instead of PayPal? Yes, I did. Stripe's like one of the biggest companies in the world now. It's crazy. So technically you could use PayPal, but everyone just uses Stripe. So you can use either or, but Stripe's better. Okay, Deborah, you're up next. Go ahead, Deborah. And you'll need to unmute, Deborah. I'll let you know when you get it. Yep, gotcha.
Okay.
Yep, gotcha.
I'm an artist and I've been doing art fairs for like 30 years. And I know what you're saying about them changing slowly with the economy. And now the pandemic, I've had nothing.
I know.
Got a nice grant from the government to continue. And so I had websites in the past and paid a lot of money for them. I'm not good at marketing. They did not help. So I guess my bottom line would be how much, how do I pay you? And it sounds like you give us advice on marketing.
Oh, I mean, it's way more than advice. Is it? Yeah. I mean, like
I came in kind of in the middle. So if you want to just kind of give me an overview of the marketing.
Yeah. So, I mean, the easiest way to think about it is, everybody went to art school, right? Or a lot of people did, and they got like an art degree, and they learned about art history, and they learned about the masters and various different centuries and all the movements and everything else.
And nothing
and
technical.
Zero about how to actually build a sustainable art business, right?
Exactly.
So we call it the Art Business University because that's what it is. It is no different than a college. The biggest difference is that there are no graduates because the learning never stops, because the digital marketing landscape changes that quickly. So we have just exactly like the Zoom session you're on now. We have weekly Zoom sessions with our customers where we go over that. We have a calendar on what you're supposed to do all year long. We teach you our in-depth techniques, how to run a sale, how to do this, how to do that. And then we open it up week in, week out to Q&A. So not only are you with a group of peers that are all at the same revenue level you are, because we split it based on revenue level, but we have that level of teaching that never ever stops. We actually have Zoom sessions that you can pop in on and get support 6 days a week running right now. We're essentially moving as a business to, the easiest way to think about it is it's like we're a retail store now. Instead of the retail store being open on Main Street, it's Main Street USA of the internet. And you can pop into a Zoom session at any point in time, 6 days a week, and ask questions, get help, get unstuck. And then, we have our bigger presentation sessions where we teach in depth this, that, and the other. But we do that all year long and it never stops. And imagine, by the way, I'm going to ask this question. I already know the answer to it likely, but were you gathering emails, Deborah, that 30 years you were exhibiting all those shows?
I did, and I have a mailing list, but my computer crashed at one point and I lost everything and had to start over. So it's not as big as it.
Do you still have the hard drive?
No, computer's shot.
All right.
So that I could not access. But I like what you're saying. I think this is really a good way to go. But like I found in the past, I have spent a lot of money and then they kind of leave me hanging. And it doesn't sound like you do that. I understand that.
Yeah.
I love this. I like this question answer thing. And I guess the next thing would be a demo.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep. We'll help you. And look, the reason you got hung out to dry all the other times is like, everyone thinks you just need a website, and the website is, the way I say it is that 99 out of 100 people that come onto these calls don't have a website problem, meaning they don't have a huge email list, they don't have a ton of traffic, such that if they left wherever they were and they came to our software, which is better than any of the other ones out there, yes, they will instantaneously get a bump because our software will convert more visitors into buyers, because it's not even like the tooting our own horn. None of the rest of them are solely built to sell art and photography. They're just not. Maybe there's like one that has like some features, but independent of that, everyone else doesn't have a website problem. You can't fundamentally pick your business up. I could be the genie in the lamp and say, you say where, Deborah, I will move and pay your website to any provider out there. The business is not going to fundamentally change because you're not solving the marketing problem. The marketing problem is the only problem that you have. You need to solve the marketing problem to even be able to have a website problem. So
therein is my next question. It's like, okay, do you guys help us set up like formats to send out emails or send out, say, join my email list.
Yes. We provide like templated language for everything, what to say during the sale, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Valentine's Day. And then, obviously everyone adjusts it to taste a little bit for what they do and, their style, their personality, their brand, etc.
Okay. I have had a website forever, and because of the pandemic, I just shut it down.
Yeah.
But I definitely very interested. So bottom line, for an opening for cost-wise, how does that work?
Yeah, so the way that we operate is we're no different than any other website provider in the sense that there's a monthly fee to have the website, right? Where we are different is we charge an upfront fee that essentially goes to pay for all the marketing support that we give all year long. And it's a one-time fee and that's it. You pay it and you get the marketing support forever. And it's both support in the sense that you're thinking of, like, hey, I'm stuck, help me get unstuck. But it's actually the ongoing teaching. And it's quite literally a university. I mean, there's no other way to think about it. It is a university in art and business marketing all year long. I mean, that's straight up what it is. And it,
So what if it doesn't work for me? Am I locked in for a certain amount of time?
I mean, like, it depends on no one's locked in. Anyone can leave at any point in time, obviously. And, we're very gracious about how we handle that. And we make sure everyone gets a parachute on the way out that wants to leave. But the people that it doesn't work for fall into one of two boats. Boat number one is they've never attempted to sell their art or photography to anyone before, and it's just not a product the market wants. They've never tried to sell it to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, friends. And, they take a product to market that the market doesn't want. And they think that by having a website and having some marketing, it's going to fix it. Well, no one wants this particular style that you're producing. No one's saying you're a crappy artist, but this style is not selling. You need to test that it's going to sell. So that's number one. And then number two are the people that just don't do any work, period. Right? They come on board and they're like, I don't have to do anything. I'm not going to do anything. And I'm just going to throw it up on this website. And if I immediately don't start selling $100,000 a year, I'm going to quit and look for people to blame. Those are the only people that end up leaving. No one else leaves. Our retention rates are like through the roof, actually.
Okay, so I'm not
savvy
at all.
Yep.
And that's very daunting for me. So,
yes.
You say you're going to teach people how to do it, and I have a hard time with all that. So
Yep. And you're not the
you
only one.
simplify it and help us through it, right?
We do, and we hold your hand, and we let you know that, especially in the beginning, there's a significant cognitive load to learning new web technology, but there's also no shortcut. You have to do it, right? So normally what we do is we just tell you that frustration that you're feeling, that handful of hair that you have in your hand that used to be in your head that you just ripped out, that's totally normal. Keep going. It's extremely helpful in the sense that you're with a pretty robust sized peer group that's doing the same thing. And so, when a couple of people are on there and they're like, I want to kill you, I'm going to kill them, I hate this, I'm about to throw my computer out the window, everyone can have a collective laugh. And then people are like, don't worry, I was exactly where you were. I never knew how to do any of this, but any problem, it's all the same, right? You break it down into the basic little steps and you start learning and getting better. The world that we live in right now, if you want to make it in today's day and age, you have to have some digital acumen and you have to learn it. So, we'll get you there. And again, it's nice to have a support structure of a whole bunch of people that are doing the same thing. But
it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So my next step would be to have you put me on a list for a demo. Is that it?
Yep. April can put a link in the chat. You can click on that, or you can just go to the website. They're all over the website, the buttons. And then what the outreach team will call you and set up like a 10 to 15 minute call, hear about you, your career, where you're at. They'll go through all the pricing and everything else. And then if you like what you hear, good fit, all that wonderful jazz, then they schedule the full demo, which goes like an hour and 10 minutes to go through all the bells and whistles of the software. So that's kind of how our process goes.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Deborah. And if your computer ever crashes again, do not ever take the first person's advice. Save the hard drive always. You could have probably sent that hard drive to me. And I've got Nerd Level 27, who's one of my best friends from growing up, that could probably have got those emails off. Unless the thing is on fire, you could probably recover. My buddy's like FBI level forensic, like data science. Not like he works at the FBI. He's a huge nerd. But, I've never had a hard drive that he wasn't able to like resuscitate like a good portion of it. So just call me next time. That thing goes down. We'll get you sorted. Okay. What else? Any other questions? Oh, Ken, going for the old school hand raise. I like it, Ken. Go ahead. You have to unmute. Yeah, mic icon. Yep, gotcha. Yep.
Hi, Patrick. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Great.
You might need to get a little bit closer to the mic. You're kind of muffled.
How's that better?
Yeah, it is better.
Okay. I've been selling prints and automotive decals on eBay and Amazon for the last 3-4 years.
Okay.
And just in that, I've probably created about a $2,000 a month income from it.
Okay.
I print my own products.
Okay.
I have all the digital printers and on the cutters and all that stuff to create all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can also do, canvas prints and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But my question, first off, is I like Redbubble, perfect example of who I hate.
Oh, yeah.
I uploaded a bunch of art that is truly my art.
Mm-hmm.
And they refused to show some of the stuff saying I was infringing on copyrights.
Yep.
Now I know the copyright laws, and I did not infringe on any of it, and it's not like a photograph that I just reproduced the photograph. I literally take a photograph of somebody and turn it into something totally different.
Yep.
For Illustrator. So how do I get around proving that it's my art to begin with? And would I have that kind of situation getting on art storefront?
No, you won't with us at all in the slightest. And I know I could see it was really funny because you started talking with the lowered mic, and Francisco and Crystal are like getting closer, and even John to the screen, like, I can't hear it. I want to hear it, but I can't hear it. It was really funny. Yeah, with the short answer is with Redbubble. I mean, you can go through the whole site if you want to, and try to claim with them, and you could even send them an email from a lawyer and say, no, we have the copyrights, but it's not worth it. You're not going to sell anything on Redbubble anyway, and if you do, it's going to be too minimal. It's probably just not worth it. No, you won't have the issues with us in the slightest. Like I said, the only thing that we respond to is an actual like takedown order from a lawyer, and I have to follow up on this because I don't even think we've received any. Maybe we have. I don't know. I'd have to check.
I received 2 over the past 4 years.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, fine, sorry, But again, it was still my artwork, but they felt it was close enough to where I was infringing. So I didn't argue it wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Especially the sales that I have aren't that great that I want to worry about.
No, exactly right. You just turn the thing off and you keep going. I mean, where it gets really sticky is on Facebook or Instagram, because in those instances, it's not even a human being that'll get you. They'll just get you and they'll say, nope, can't post this, in violation. Sorry, Ken, pound sand. Go ahead and send your complaints to Nobody Cares or is going to look at it. Have a nice day. Please don't email or call. Lose my number, right? Like, that's what they'll do to you, and it's even more frustrating. I mean,
well, I did the quick demo last week,
and
I talked to a gentleman named Reed.
Yep.
And he's supposed to call me back today because I want to get in on this.
Yep.
The sooner the better.
April, will you send a message to Reed? By the way, did you see Reed on video? That man has one of the most remarkable mustaches I've ever seen in the history of mankind. I mean, he could show up. He could show up at like the local CHP office and be hired instantaneously just based on the strength of that mustache. April will send a message to Reed and have him contact you. But yeah.
I'm ready to go. I'm really excited about because my daughter's been screaming at me not to be on the Instagram sales and all that sort of stuff, which sounds like you're gonna walk me through it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably be screaming in unison with your daughter. Actually, she's probably pretty smart. The first thing I'll tell you is that, and you might like this, you might not like this, and I'd be curious to get your perspective. But I think you should take your printer and your cutters and your table and put it all on Craigslist and not ever print a damn thing ever again. And here's the reason. You could be very, very good at your printing, right? Extremely. You're incredible. You're incredible at it. Great results, perfect, edge to edge, wrapping, shifting, boxing, flawless. All the time, energy, and effort that you put into that is not growing your business, and it never will. It's just not. All it's doing is wasting your time and giving you a headache, and you're cleaning the printer, and you're waiting. Wasteoftime.com.org. Stop it. Everyone, all the big boys, like printing is, it's sad because there used to be an art form to it. There still is a little bit of an art form to it, but all the arbitrage is gone, meaning all the big boys have all the same printers, all the same ink, all the same color calibration tools, all the same media types, and they're doing it print on demand. You don't need to touch any of that. Period. Full stop. Now your decal stuff, if you come on board, how you would handle that supplier, I don't know. But every hour you're monkeying around with those machines is not an hour you're giving me to work on your marketing, i.e. growing the business, getting more customers and sales. So I want you to put all that stuff on Craigslist. Look at all that. You're going to have an entire room in your house that's now open for activities and whatever else. So, just contemplate it, because I'm telling you, it's not going to fundamentally grow your business, and the margins that you're gaining as a result of doing it, not worth it.
Well, I did like the fulfillment part of the deal that
yes,
you
huge.
Talk about.
Yes,
and I'm hoping to generate the print art that I do to go that direction with you.
Yes, you need to.
So that gives me more opportunity to create more art, to create more prints, and to keep things going.
Exactly.
Now I'm a sculpturist. That's my main thing, and I deal in metal and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the hardest thing ever is for me to display that art and get people to see it. And
it's not as hard as you think it is.
No, well, because you guys are there, I'm struggling through all this. I've been a graphic designer all my life, and so that's all I know, you know. So, so the sculpture stuff is 2 years new for me, and I have a lot of pieces that I created for the Art Festival last year, which obviously got shut down.
Yeah.
So, I have a lot of stuff that I'm anxious to get people to see, if nothing else.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that this form that you're going to offer to me and teach me how to use is going to generate people to look at it and see it and appreciate it.
That is the goal. That's the goal. Got to have attention.
I'm 100% with you on that, so I'm anxious to get started.
Good. We'll make sure Reed, i.e. Giant Mustache, reaches out, and
Okay.
and for the Zoom calls, we're definitely gonna have to get you a new mic. Although I would like to see 200 people on a grid all go and lean in because it was classic.
I'm new at this part. I've only done this a couple times, so.
Yeah. Yep. All good. It's
Okay.
it's gonna be
Thank you
amazing.
very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so awesome. Crystal's got another question. Is, do you help with all the business part of setting up the tax IDs and figuring out sales tax and everything that goes with being a legit business? We do. We actually have a woman that is an accountant, and her business is just being an accountant for artists and photographers. She's an artist too. She's a customer, and she teaches regular Zoom sessions on all the tax implications and everything else. But I don't want you worrying, Crystal, about any of those tax implications at all. You know, when you're an entrepreneur for long enough, you realize you only have one problem. It's getting the checks, okay? If you can get the checks, then you can go and worry about all of the downstream tax ID, bank account, But get the check first, and then worry about all the rest. Not the other way around. You should never open a bank account and start a business until you have a check in hand to the business entity. Then you go down there. Point being, hardest thing to do, make a sale. Easiest thing to do, everything else that comes after, including the printing and shipping. So that's what I've got. Okay. Questions? Did we cover it? No preguntas, Francisco? ¿Usted tiene nada? No? He's shy. I like to pick on him last time. He was on video. He was mortified, and I enjoyed it. I'd torture you a little bit. I hate being on video too, dude. I get it. Okay. Yeah, no, John, I don't think you should incorporate yourself. You don't even have to start a business early on. Okay. You get a couple of sales, and then I'm not an accountant. I'm not giving you official accountant and or legal advice, whatever those stupid disclaimers they have on the radio shows, but everyone as an entrepreneur tends to like stress about all of these things. Like they stress about photographing the work, and what they don't do is actually try to sell anything, right? Instead, they're spending 16 hours doing business plans and accountants and everything else. Sell first, get some checks, then worry about it. You can be, a sole proprietorship. I mean, as long as you pay taxes, you're not going to get into any trouble. The business ID people are not going to come break your door down. Did you sell a piece of art unlicensed? That's it. And it's not going to happen. They got much bigger threats to worry about. So that's what I would say. Don't stress about any of that. Start selling the art first. Checks in hand, good to go. Then you go open the bank account. Do you need to incorporate yourself? Absolutely not. Okay. When you incorporate yourself, all you do is you get 2 tax bills, not 2 tax bills, like, have to pay the taxes, 2 tax bills from your accountant. Okay. One huge deal for your personal taxes, and then an even bigger one for your business. So yeah, the Wayfair decision was a big call. Once you start selling substantially online to various different states, then that's a thing. But we have all that worked out. The sales tax, different states, collection, I got that all started. Hate that stuff. Makes my head hurt. My wife has to deal with all that in my house. I won't even look at it. No, it's not my gifting. It's not my gifting. It's not my gifting. Not paperwork. But okay. I think we covered it. Any further? Any parting questions? Oh, Janie, is your hand back up? I can't tell. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you. It takes a lot of patience, and you're articulate, and you've done a good job communicating. And I just wanted to say thanks for the good job.
Jenny, I knew I liked you. I knew I liked you.
Well, the videos are very helpful,
Yeah.
honestly. All the what Nick did
Mhm.
was quite informative.
Mhm.
Your visuals are impressive, and I just like that you're good communicators, because to me, art is communication.
Oh, it so
Thanks.
is. It so is. And the video is so important, especially in today's
Yeah.
day and age. Like, it's just more effective than efficient. You know, Uh, prior to the pandemic, I was never on camera once, right? Like I did the podcast for you. I telling you, I hate being on video. I hate it. Okay, but I'm contrarian. I understand. Like, you know, the 2 weeks, like 3 weeks before the pandemic, we started doing we call them office hours, which are like the sessions with our customers. We started doing them, and you realize, like, oh my gosh, like I recorded a podcast and I sent them to a blog post and I told them to take action, and then I screamed at them on a video call and they all did it. It's like, this is way more effective. This is making my job way easier. And now I'm on video 6 days a week and I still hate it, but I get it. You know, it's effective. Like you guys all wanted to learn about art storefronts, right? And you came to the website and you read a couple of blog posts, and then we emailed you incessantly. By the way, how much do we email? It's embarrassing, right? It's terrible. Way too many emails. And so then we email you incessantly, and you come back to the website, you read some more, and you come back again. Versus in one session, you understand who we are. We're crossing the know, like, and trust barrier. You get to see for yourself if we're full of it or if we know what we're talking about. And you're much closer to whatever desired action it is. It's just more efficient, more effective. Okay, now do selling art. You can have the live art show. You can hold and merchandise your pieces. You can talk about them. And you can have the sale directly. And people get to know the artist. They're feeling more comfortable. They know Francisco is shy and he wears hats, right? Like you have that bonding type of a scenario, and it's just more efficient and more effective. You know, what is the best way? And I'll close on this. What is the best way to sell art or photography? Trick question. Face to face, in person. Okay, no one's disputing that. But problem, okay, Janie, Francisco, Crystal, we are all geographically fixed on this planet. We have to sleep, and we're incapable of having 27 conversations at once. So we have to have a website, which solves sort of those problems, right? It solves those problems. The video, like what we're doing now, is in between. It is the best thing that's in between, right? The single solitary best thing that's in between. You get to know people quicker. You can ask your questions. You can interact, and it is as effective for selling anything, period, but especially art and photography, and, you know, evidently hawking dodgy software too. So there we go. I will leave on that note. I want all of you guys to have an absolutely fantastic week. And yeah, thanks for joining. Bye, guys.